So are you thankful or are you just plain ticked off? What is your response when a tough situation comes into your life, a difficult situation, something that you think is not fair has come into your life, is happening in your life or the life of people you care about a lot? Do you immediately become thankful for it, or do you immediately become ticked off thinking, why does this have to happen to me? I don't deserve this. This shouldn't be happening. And you know, as a disciple of Jesus, you've really got two options, correct? Either God allowed it to come into your life by not preventing it, or God actively brought it into your life. Those are really the two options, and I'll tell you why. Because God promises, He says, I'm the most powerful, I can do whatever I want, and I will make happen whatever I want to make happen. So that tough, difficult, what seems unfair situation that has been brought into your life was at least allowed by God to come into your life. If not, He flat out brought it into your life on purpose. And so the question is, what is going to be your attitude toward that situation or that problem? Are you going to be thankful and see it as an opportunity to learn and to grow and to become more like Jesus? Or are you just going to be bitter and hard and continue to complain and think you're not being treated fairly? And you know what I found in my life? No matter which of those two options I choose initially, the problem or the situation is still there. It doesn't change the problem. If I'm thankful, the problem is still there at that moment when I first decide to be thankful for an opportunity to grow and to learn. If I become bitter and hard and say, woe is me, this is not fair, and I make that decision initially, that problem, that situation is still there in my life. Neither one of those changes how neither one of those changes the problem or the situation itself. So the question is, what are you going to do about it now? What are you going to make of this situation, this difficult problem that you find yourself in when it happens? And you might be going through it right now. I don't know. And this applies even if you're not a follower of Jesus, even if you don't believe in God. You know what? It's still the same. It's either an opportunity to grow and to learn, or it's unfair, I don't deserve this, woe is me, I'm going to be bitter and hard. And so there's three things that we control, I think. This is the way I look at it. Three things that I ultimately have control over, and if you read Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, about, as a psychiatrist, what he learned while he was in a concentration camp and observing the other prisoners in the concentration camp, the ones that had the positive attitude and hope, or the ones that had the negative attitude, and how they handled the situation. Okay? And he says the one freedom that we have that we will never lose is our freedom to choose how we view and approach a situation. Nobody can ever take that freedom away from you. And so we get to choose what we think about a situation or a problem. We get to choose our attitude toward that situation or a problem. And we get to choose the actions we take. Now, many times those actions can be somewhat restricted depending on the circumstances and the country you live in and the environment you live in and so forth. I get that. But nobody can take away what you think and your attitude toward it. Those are free decisions that you always have, and it's a freedom that you always have in your life. So think about that. You're in a tough situation right now. You're in a situation that doesn't seem fair. Something's happened that just doesn't seem fair. You don't deserve this. You get to choose what is your attitude. Are you going to be thankful and hopeful and say, this is an opportunity for me to grow? Or are you going to be bitter and hard and just get more and more angry and withdrawn and mad at the world? Now let's walk through those two real quick. That's really what I wanted to get to here. Let's walk through those two real quick and see what benefit they're doing for you. So let's let's say you choose to see this as it's unfair, you're bitter, you're angry, you're hard. What does that emotion, what does that feel like on the inside? Do you have hope for the future? Are you excited about life now? Do you want to tackle the day? Do you want to go after the problem and see what you can make of it? Or do you just want to withdraw and feel sorry for yourself, and it leads you to the point of saying, I want to give up? Is that attitude benefiting you? Is that decision, those thoughts of thinking that this is wrong, I don't deserve this, it's unfair, is that attitude and those thoughts, are they benefiting you? Now, what about on the flip side? Same situation, same problem in your life, but you say, you know what? I'm going to make the decision because I have the freedom up here to make that decision of what I think about it and my attitude toward it. And so you say to yourself, I'm going to see this as a tremendous opportunity to grow and to learn and to become a better person. And if you're a follower of Jesus, you would say it's an opportunity for me to learn and to grow and mature and become more like Jesus. Now, what does that attitude and those thoughts do for you? What do you feel inside? Okay? What do you feel inside when you are thinking that way? It gives you hope for the future, right? It gives you energy. It gives you motivation that I'm going to go after this problem. It is not going to get me down. This is here in front of me because it is a great opportunity for me to grow and learn and mature and move closer to becoming that person I know I can and should be. And those are really your two options. Bitter and angry, or thankful and hopeful. The choice is yours. The choice is mine. The choice is every person. So I would suggest maybe just going through that little experiment. When there's a really tough situation or something that you don't think is fair in your life, just quickly walk through that. Okay, I'm going to approach it from being bitter, angry, this is not fair. How does that make me feel? How does that make me show up for myself, for my family, for the people around me? And then say, okay, I'm going to pretend, even if I don't believe this, I'm going to pretend, I'm going to look at this as and be thankful for it because this is an opportunity for me to grow. And then check yourself real quick and say, what are the emotions that I'm feeling now? How is this going to make me show up for myself, for my family, for those people around me? And then just realize it's really a choice. It's the same problem. It's the same tough situation. It's the same thing that may be totally unfair that is happening to you or people you care about in your life. Totally unfair. But the way you decide to think about it and the attitude you decide to have toward it can make all the difference in what you make of that bad situation and where your life goes from there.